Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're talking about lanes and how to drive in the correct lane, lane discipline. Often learners sometimes don't understand why we have to drive in the left-hand lane most of the time. The left-hand lane is regarded in our terms as NDP, and NDP stands for normal driving position. Lots of learner drivers have an issue with understanding it when, for example, bus lanes come up. It's a left-hand lane, and can they use it or not, etc. Bus lanes, basically, you can use them. They are normal driving position lanes when they're not active. So it's important to read the signs and the times and etc. And that's how you're going to know if you can use it. If there's an obstruction or anything in there, you can choose to move away into the other lane. It's easier for the learner to drive in the left-hand lane because when you're a new driver, you're pretty novice and it's a bit difficult for you to check mirrors and change lanes and etc. and stuff. So keeping in the normal driving position, the left-hand lane, it's easier for the driver to overtake you in the right-hand lane. And if you're driving in the overtake lane, which is the right-hand lane, then drivers will pass you from the inside, and this is quite common practice. We see this quite a lot, especially when they're behind a learner driver. So it's good to sort of read the road out, be aware of it as early as possible, and try and read the signs, stick to your left lane where possible. Generally dual carriageways, motorways, in a city where the lanes near the junctions, there's extra lanes, for example, and keeping in the left-hand lane is the safest bit because it lets you go ahead, also lets you go left, and so it kind of helps out your directions, etc. If you were turning right, you would be in the right-hand lane, or if traffic flowed, there's a traffic jam, you can't get into the left-hand lane, you've gone ahead into the next lane that's available, that's fine. So general practice, yeah, keeping to the left, being aware of what lanes are coming up, reading the signs in general, especially where bus lanes are there. There are, as you know, bus lanes that are not active 24 hours, so you can't use them. I'm going to give you a little demonstration on a bus lane road and a 3-lane or a dual carriageway road, just to give you an idea. Generally it's easier to stay in the left-hand lane until you pick up experience. Drivers do choose to use other lanes, overtake lanes, etc. And it's not the law of the country where you're going to be in the third-hand lane or right-hand lane for no reason if you're not overtaking a vehicle, unless you're turning right. Okay, I'm going to set off from here. We're going to go look at a road that has a bus lane on it. We're going to look at the sign, what it says, and just generally driving in the left-hand lane if possible, in your normal driving position. This comes under lane discipline in driving tests. So lane discipline is very important on a driving test. If you wasn't, say, for example, in the left-hand lane and you were driving in the right-hand lane for no reason, and at some point if you didn't change back using the lane change procedure, the mirror signal routine, it would be a fault, minor fault. If you persisted, carried on going in that lane for a long time, then it would result in a serious fault. And a lot of learner drivers fail due to lane discipline, or they get confused with the lanes, because sometimes let's face it, you'll have lanes, there'll be like 2 lanes turning right on a particular marked roundabout. I mean, roundabouts in general, we are going to look into them in the future videos, but generally the left-hand lane would be going ahead or first left, and the right-hand lane would be turning right and going to the furthest exit if it was a roundabout, for example, unless markings tell you otherwise, where there are 2 lanes that are turning right. And then if there was 2 lanes turning right, you would choose the left lane, the first of the right lane that's in the left hand side, and that would keep you in your normal driving position. So it's important to know what the normal driving position is when you're driving along roads that have more lanes than one, for example. And it's a good to stick to this rule, as it'll pay off in your driving test also, and it's good practice, and also it's the safest way to drive. So if anybody does want to overtake you, it's a lot easier for you to view and see the right mirror than look to your left, for example. And often new drivers are a little bit weak with their checking their left. So here we've got a bus lane coming up. It is Monday to Friday, 7:30 to 9:30 p.m, 4 till 6:30 p.m. So as you can see at the moment, it's what, 11:40 almost, so it's not active, and you can see obstructions in the lane, so we're not going into it. As soon as the obstructions are over, we can move into it, and this would then now be your normal driving position lane. And anybody that wants to overtake or anything, it's a lot safer for them to overtake on the right hand side than the left hand side. In case you need to go left and you're in that lane, it's very difficult to go across, and it would also cause a collision with a car that's traveling on the inside lane. So I'm going to turn left to the traffic lights, so you get my mirrors in, signaling, turning left, and here you can see we're coming onto a larger road, dual carriageway. Well, actually it's a 3-lane road, and I'm in the normal driving lane again, in the left hand lane. The only time you wouldn't use the left hand lane if it was turning left only, or if it becomes some other kind of thing. In this case, this lane is going to become a cycle lane only, so in good time I'm going to move across to the next lane, which then would become my normal driving lane. You can see the bus sign, cycle sign coming up there, so it's basically a bus lane or the cycle lane in this case. It's a new markings here, there's a new cycle lane, this one, and you can see also it's closed to cars and buses. For example, it has the bollards in it, but again you've got 2 lanes travelling up this road like a dual carriageway, although this is a ring road, and your normal driving lane would be the left hand lane. General practice of driving. Coming up to a roundabout, so I'm going to continue ahead to the 3rd exit. Always approach the roundabouts in a lower gear, like 2nd gear for example, standby gear. So if you can check, observe to the right, see if it's okay, and you can pull away in that gear, unless you have to stop. Whereas a high gear here, 3rd gear, wouldn't really let you pull away. If you stopped, of course, it's 1st gear. Always giving way to the right, generally for roundabouts. And again, there's 2 lanes here. Because I'm going ahead of the roundabout, I'm keeping to my left-hand lane, and I'm leaving at this exit here, which is like at the 12 o'clock. If you're approaching roundabouts, think of it, roundabouts is a clock, you're approaching at 6 o'clock, you're leaving at 12 o'clock. Well, we'll talk more about roundabouts in the future lessons. So here you've got 2 lanes again. I'm in my normal driving position lane, and it's the left hand lane, unless I need to overtake an obstruction or a slow moving vehicle or a cyclist or etc, anything like this. So general practice, keeping to the left hand lane, provided it's going ahead, is your normal driving position lane. And where there are bus lanes, if they're not active in the times displayed, then you can use them as your normal driving lane position. I'm going to be turning off this dual carriageway shortly to the left, and then again it pays off for you to be in the left hand lane, because if you're going left, it's so much easier for you to be able to take that left turn. I'm going to pull up on the left here. So there you go, folks. If you don't understand what the NDP means, or normal driving position lane, then this I hope this video helps you out, and you know, if we're going on your driving test, keep this in mind, that the left hand lane is the normal driving position lane. Where there's a single two-way carriage road, keeping a meter away from the curb, is the normal driving position where it's safe to do so. Obviously, if there's cars parked there, you're going to give the cars adequate clearance. Hope this video gave you some tips on what lanes to use, and you know, generally you're driving so it takes away the confusion. Okay, hope to see you soon in the next video. If you like that video, hit the like and subscribe and comment in the box below. Stay tuned for my